You are made from the same dust as gods, so act like it. The world wants you silent, small, obedient. But within you, there's a storm, a fire forged from the same chaos that created Olympus itself. There is a silence that exists before creation, a space where all things wait to be born. Within that silence, even gods were once whispers, ideas flickering against the void. And somewhere in that stillness, beneath the noise of your life, the same spark waits in you. You feel it sometimes, don't you? In the moments between distraction and doubt, that quiet pulse that reminds you, you were made for more. Zeus's voice still echoes in that silence. It doesn't speak in thunder or lightning anymore, not outside of you, but inside. It comes as a tremor in your chest, a restless ache when you settle for less than what you could be. The ancients believed the divine lived on mountains. They were wrong. The divine lives in the climb itself, the struggle upward, the refusal to kneel when the weight of life bears down. That is where Olympus is built now. Within you, you are made from the same dust as gods, the same matter that ignited the stars. Somewhere along the way, the world made you forget that. They told you to be realistic, to play small, to fit in. But nothing about your creation was small. Every cell in your body carries the story of fire, stone, and storm. You were carved by forces older than fear. You were shaped by chaos, and chaos never creates something ordinary. You were not meant to simply exist. You were meant to awaken, but awakening doesn't happen gently. It comes as a quake, a tearing apart of everything false, everything fragile. That's why it hurts when life breaks you open. It's the same pain the marble felt when the sculptor struck his first blow. Those cracks aren't signs of failure. They are where the light begins to enter. The statue before you, Zeus, Apollo, Athena, they are not just art. They are mirrors. Every fracture in their form is a reflection of your own battle scars. They remind you that perfection was never the goal. The gods were never flawless. They were fierce, flawed, and alive. They loved, they raged, they fell, they rose. And in every myth where they descended into darkness, they returned brighter, because even light must remember what shadow feels like. So when you fall, and you will, remember the dust rising around that statue. Remember that the God within you is not destroyed by failure. He is revealed through it. The world wants you numb. It wants you scrolling, quiet, compliant. It fears the moment you remember what you are capable of. Because one awakened soul is more powerful than a million asleep. Zeus's voice once split the sky. Now it splits your excuses. Every time you say, I can't, you deny the divine breath that made you. You don't need lightning to strike. You are the lightning. You don't need a sign. You need a decision. The gods never waited for permission to create. They acted, and creation followed. The same power lives in you every time you choose discipline over comfort, courage over fear, persistence over doubt. There will be days when the storm feels endless, when your mind turns against you, when everything inside whispers that you're not enough. Those are the moments the gods are watching, not from above but from within. They are the strength in your lungs when you take another breath. They are the fire that refuses to go out. They are the whisper that says, keep going. You were never just human. Humanity was the form, not the limit. The same universe that crafted Olympus crafted you, and it placed in your chest a fragment of its own thunder. Every heartbeat is a drumbeat of that storm. Every breath a reminder that creation still moves through you. So rise. Not as a statue frozen in marble, but as the living echo of a god. Let your cracks show. Let your light pour through them. Remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Remember the mountain that lives in your soul. Remember the voice that still calls your name in thunder. You are made from the same dust as gods. So act like it. Somewhere deep inside, beneath layers of fear and hesitation, sleeps the truth of what you are. Not a spark that needs to be given, but one that needs to be remembered. The ancients never truly worshipped marble or gold. They worshipped reflection. They saw in the eyes of Zeus their own unshaken will, their own relentless hunger to rise above limitation. But you've been taught to forget. You've been told that greatness belongs to others, the gifted, the chosen, the lucky. You've been told to stand back, to wait your turn, to hope that life will someday notice you. But life does not notice. Life demands. It demands your effort, your fire, your fight. The gods did not rise by waiting. They rose by becoming. Zeus was not born on a throne. He was hidden, hunted, nearly destroyed before he ever claimed the sky. But every storm that broke him became the storm that made him. The same pattern repeats through all time. Destruction, awakening, ascension. You're standing in the same cycle now, though your battlefield looks different. It isn't mountains and monsters anymore. It's deadlines, anxiety, exhaustion, doubt. The tools have changed, but the test is the same. Will you remember what you are made of? The forgotten power within you doesn't roar at first. It whispers. It's the quiet resistance when you get up one more time after failing. It's the strength that hides behind every "I'll try again tomorrow." The world mistakes that for weakness, but the gods recognize it. That's where they began, in persistence. The first lightning bolt is always small. The sky only learns to burn after repetition. Look at your own life. Every scar is a symbol, every heartbreak a forging. Those moments didn't take power from you. They exposed it. You survived. You adapted. You kept moving even when every voice told you to stop. That's not survival, that's creation. You created the version of yourself that exists right now, and you can create another. Do you know what the sculptor understood? That the masterpiece is already inside the stone. The hammer doesn't add and it removes. Each strike takes away what doesn't belong until only truth remains. That's what your pain is doing. Carving away your false beliefs, your excuses, your fears, until only your divine core is left standing. When Zeus raised his hand and commanded lightning, he wasn't just summoning energy, he was remembering who he was. Power isn't something you find, it's something you allow yourself to remember. You have that same capacity. It appears when you stop running from the challenge, when you lean into discomfort and say, "Let it shape me." The world wants you to forget your lineage, to believe you are dust, meant only to fade. But that dust once built empires, lit stars, carried thunder. Every time you resist the pull of weakness, you awaken another fragment of that ancient force. Every time you choose purpose over pleasure, you're speaking the language of Olympus. You might not hear the thunder outside, but it's inside on a slow, rhythmic beat matching your heart. And if you've ever wondered why mediocrity feels so heavy, it's because it drags down a soul that wasn't meant to crawl. You are wired for ascent. The climb is written into your design. That's why failure hurts. Not because you've fallen, but because deep down, you know you belong higher. This is your reminder. Power doesn't arrive when life becomes easy. Power awakens when life becomes impossible, and you still choose to rise. That's when Zeus speaks again. Through the grit in your teeth, through the burn in your lungs, through the heartbeat that refuses to quit. You've forgotten what you carry, that's all. But forgetting isn't final. The gods don't die. They sleep. And every act of courage, every moment of discipline, every defiant breath against fear is the sound of them stirring within you. Remember who you are. Not a shadow of the divine, but its continuation. You are the living echo of the same force that commands the heavens. When you act with conviction, the sky listens. When you move with purpose, the ground follows. You don't need proof. You are the proof. The world will call it arrogance when you begin to believe again. Let them. The gods were called mad too. Madness and divinity often share the same language. Both refuse to bow, so stand up. Stand tall. Look toward the horizon not as a spectator but as a creator. The forgotten power is no longer lost. It's waiting for your permission. And the moment you say enough, the moment you decide that ordinary ends here, the thunder returns. Because remembering is not a thought. It's a transformation. You will know it's happening when your fear begins to sound like silence, and your silence begins to sound like peace. That is how gods awaken, quietly first, then all at once. You may think your trials separate you from the divine, that the struggle you face every day is proof that you are small. But the truth is the opposite. Every challenge that meets you is not punishment. It's participation in the same rhythm that shaped every hero before you. The gods never handed greatness as a gift. They tested those who sought it. Each hardship, each loss, each failure is not a wall, but a mirror showing you who you can become once you pass through it. Every life has its storms, though they come in different forms. Some arrive as heartbreak, some as financial collapse, others as silence when you are begging for a sign. What they share is their purpose, to strip away everything that keeps you from your highest self. When the old stories told of trials, the labors of Hercules, the exile of Odysseus, they weren't about monsters and distance. They were about the fight inside a person, the constant confrontation with weakness, the temptation to stop halfway up the mountain. That is the same trial you face now, just written in modern form. You live in an age of comfort, yet that comfort has become another form of suffering. Screens glow in your hands, distractions fill your mind, and the world teaches you to chase pleasure instead of purpose. That is your modern Hydra. Every time you cut off one head of distraction, two more appear. It is endless, unless you stand with discipline and face it without fear. Discipline is your sword. Focus is your shield. You will need both to reach the summit that calls your name. The trial of a mortal is not measured by how loud they roar when they succeed, but by how quietly they endure when no one is watching. It is in those hours, the early mornings when your body resists movement, the long nights when your doubts whisper louder than your dreams, that your real strength is built. Every repetition of effort is a sacred ritual. Every refusal to quit is a prayer heard by something greater than circumstance. You are not waiting for divine rescue. You are building divinity through persistence. Do not mistake ease for happiness. Ease weakens. Struggle strengthens. The fire that tempers steel burns the same way inside a human heart. It hurts, yes, but what emerges is unbreakable. When you feel that you have been pushed too far, know that this is the forge of transformation. The universe does not test what it intends to destroy. It tests what it intends to evolve. The fact that you are being tested means that something extraordinary is being prepared within you. You will be tempted to envy others who seem untouched by hardship, those who smile easily, whose paths look smooth. But remember, the smooth road does not reach the mountain's peak. It loops endlessly in the valley. Those who rise must bleed a little. Those who ascend must leave comfort behind. The pain you feel is not punishment. It is the price of the climb, and every step you take upward is proof that you are still fighting. There will be times when you fall. All mortals do. You will make mistakes, lose faith, disappoint yourself. That is part of the design. Failure is not the opposite of power. It is the teacher of power. The gods never scorned those who failed. They pitied those who never dared. To try, to fall, to rise again. This is the sacred cycle of progress. When you get up after being broken, you are living the oldest myth there is. The rebirth of strength through suffering. Your generation's trials are quieter but no less fierce. You fight loneliness in crowds, confusion amid abundance, exhaustion beneath constant noise. And yet the solution remains the same as it was thousands of years ago. Stillness, discipline, faith in your own capacity. When the world screams, be silent. When it rushes, slow down. There is no lightning without tension, no revelation without darkness first. So if you feel lost, understand that being lost is the beginning of every journey worth taking. The hero always wanders before he finds his path. Confusion is proof that you are leaving the old world behind. Keep walking. The path becomes visible only to those who refuse to stop looking for it. When you suffer, don't hide from it. Observe it. Let it carve depth into you. Let it build empathy, patience, and clarity. A shallow soul cannot hold greatness. It must be hollowed out first. Every disappointment digs space for wisdom. Every betrayal deepens your understanding of trust. Even loneliness teaches you the value of connection. The gods know that humans become strong not in spite of pain, but because of it. You have been told that success is measured by wealth, followers, applause, but those are shadows of achievement, not the light itself. Real success is found in endurance, in integrity, in the quiet certainty that you did not surrender to fear. That is what separates those who merely live from those who truly awaken. When you face your next trial, and it will come, do not curse it. Greet it. Say to yourself, this is my proving ground. Stand in the fire and let it burn away what is false. You will emerge changed, not because the world around you shifted, but because you remembered your strength. That is how mortals earn immortality, not by escaping pain, but by transcending it. Every test is a reminder that you are alive. Every challenge is an invitation to rise. And when you do, the gods within you, those fragments of courage, wisdom, and will stir again. They do not live in temples anymore. They live in people who refuse to bow. Keep walking, keep fighting, keep believing. The trial is not your enemy, it is your teacher. And when you learn its lessons, the thunder will not frighten you anymore. It will sound like your own heartbeat. The world you live in wages a different kind of war. There are no swords, no shields, no legions gathering at your gate. Yet every morning you wake to a battlefield more cunning and relentless than any fought by your ancestors. It is the war for your attention, for your focus, for the essence of your time. You face enemies that smile instead of snarl, comfort, distraction, doubt. They whisper in every idle moment, promising ease, promising safety, and slowly they steal the strength that was once yours by birthright. You were not built for this passivity. You were meant for momentum. Every instinct within you is designed to build, to conquer, to expand. But the modern world has learned how to sedate those instincts. It offers you endless entertainment, endless scrolling, endless noise that feels like living, but leaves you hollow. And in that silence that follows, you feel the ache of something forgotten. That ache is purpose calling your name. Every human being feels it, the tension between what they do and what they know they could do. It hums under the surface like static. You tell yourself you're tired, that you need rest, that maybe you're just not meant for more. But the truth is simpler. You are not tired, you are underused. Muscles grow weak when they are not challenged. The spirit does too. You have within you the same energy that built civilizations, yet you spend it avoiding discomfort. The modern battle begins not on a distant field, but in the first hour of your day. It starts with the alarm you snooze, the habit you postpone, the promise you break to yourself. Each small surrender seems harmless, but they accumulate until you can no longer tell where your power went. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," a piece of you believes it, and another piece stops believing in you. You cannot win this war with half measures. The old gods never whispered, they commanded. Command yourself. Rise before the world wakes. Move before your mind negotiates. Do not wait to feel ready. Readiness is the reward of movement, not its prerequisite. Discipline must become your devotion. The mortals who master themselves are the ones who touch immortality. You will be tempted by comfort, but comfort is a clever trap. It lulls you into mediocrity disguised as peace. True peace is found not in the absence of struggle, but in mastery of it. When you control your mind, your schedule, your impulses, you create order where chaos once ruled. You become the calm at the center of the storm. The digital age has given you everything except meaning. The more connected you become, the more you risk drifting from yourself. So reclaim your focus. Every time you turn your attention towards something that builds rather than consumes, you are reclaiming divine ground. Read, create, train, learn. These acts are modern forms of worship, expressions of gratitude for the strength you were given. Do not despise technology or comfort. Use them, but do not let them use you. Tools were always meant to serve their maker. You are the maker. You hold the hammer, the brush, the word. The same hands that scroll can sculpt. The same eyes that wander can watch for opportunity. The same mind that doubts can decide. There will be days when distraction wins, when the noise seems too loud and the silence too heavy. Do not despair. Even the gods retreated at times to regain their strength. Step away, breathe, and return to battle with clearer purpose. Forgive yourself quickly and move forward. Progress does not demand perfection. It demands persistence. The modern battle is not about destroying your enemies, but mastering yourself. You are not asked to conquer continents. You are asked to conquer your impulses, your apathy, your excuses. The reward for that victory is freedom. Freedom from the endless loop of wanting and waiting. Once you realize that the fight is within, no one can defeat you from without. This age still needs heroes, but they wear no armor. They show up every day. They honor their word. They do what they said they would do long after the excitement fades. Their strength is invisible but undeniable. When you live like that, when you rise each morning ready to give your best, you become the kind of force that the world quietly bows to. You are living in an era of unprecedented opportunity. You have knowledge at your fingertips that philosophers would have called divine. Yet information without action is like lightning without thunder. It flashes but changes nothing. Let your knowledge strike. Let it burn through the fog of indecision. You will know you are winning the modern battle when the opinions of others no longer dictate your direction. When you stop comparing and start creating. When your days begin to reflect your priorities instead of your distractions. The noise of the world fades when the voice within grows louder. That voice is discipline, purpose, faith. It speaks softly at first, but if you honor it, it becomes a roar. Do not fear the war for your attention. Embrace it. The struggle itself is proof of your worth. Proof that something inside you refuses to settle. Every small victory, every focused hour, every completed task, every promise kept, adds up until you look back and realize that you have built something powerful. A life of intention. The modern world will not hand you freedom. It will sell you comfort instead. Choose the harder road. Choose creation over consumption, purpose over pleasure, truth over distraction. That is how mortals become legends, not in a blaze of glory, but in quiet consistency. The battle will never end, but neither will you. As long as you choose to rise, to fight, to focus, you remain unconquered. And somewhere deep in the current of time, the old gods smile. Not because you worship them, but because you have finally remembered what they tried to teach. That divinity was never separate from humanity. It was always inside it, waiting for someone like you to remember. There comes a moment in every life when endurance is no longer enough. You have carried the weight, learned the lessons, faced the noise and the silence alike. But there is a deeper threshold ahead. The point where surviving must become becoming. This is the call that stirs when you wake before dawn and feel something unspoken in your chest. That whisper that says there is more to you than this repetition of days. That voice is not fantasy. It is your higher nature demanding to be heard. Every soul hears the call to rise, but few answer. Most pretend not to notice because answering means change, and change demands the death of comfort. To rise means to leave behind the versions of yourself that can no longer climb. The excuses, the fears, the shallow ambitions, all must fall away. The mountain will not move for you. You must move for it. But with each step upward, you feel the ground of weakness drop away, and what remains is solid, unshakable. There is no right moment to begin. The call does not wait for convenience. It comes when you are tired, when you are uncertain, when you have every reason to stop. That is how you know it is real. Growth never announces itself with ease. It arrives disguised as difficulty. When you hear it, you must act, not later, not someday. The choice to rise is made in the smallest moments, when no one is watching, when every part of you wants to rest, and you rise anyway. The call to rise is not about perfection. It is about persistence. You will stumble. You will take steps backward. The climb is not straight. It winds and doubles back, but as long as your direction is upward, you are winning. There is no shame in struggle. The only shame is surrender. Each time you stand again, the old world cracks a little more beneath your feet, and you move closer to the summit of your potential. Rising changes everything. It shifts how you see the world. Obstacles become challenges, pain becomes instruction, failure becomes data. You stop asking why life is hard and start asking how you can grow stronger. That mindset is your armor. It turns adversity into fuel. The moment you stop fearing the climb, the mountain ceases to intimidate you. You stop running from effort and start chasing it because you have learned that pressure is what makes you evolve. When you rise, you awaken a kind of clarity. You see that most of what holds people back is not lack of talent, but lack of belief. They doubt their worth, so they never test it. They wait for courage to appear, not realizing it grows only through use. You do not become brave before action. You act and find that courage followed you all along. That is the secret of those who reach the top. They were afraid too, but they moved anyway. This rise is not about power over others. It is power over yourself. You rise when you choose integrity over convenience, truth over popularity, purpose over pleasure. Each time you do, you ascend another level of mastery. The outer world may not notice at first, but the inner world will. You will walk differently, think differently, breathe differently. There is a calm strength that comes from self-respect, from knowing that you kept your promises to yourself. To rise is to accept responsibility for your own transformation. No savior is coming. No sign will appear in the clouds. You are both the prayer and the answer. The gods that humanity once looked up to have always lived down here, in the discipline, in the courage, in the persistence of ordinary people who refuse to give up. When you rise, you honor them, not with offerings but with action. You will face resistance. The world resists anyone who changes. Your environment, your friends, even your own mind will try to pull you back into what is familiar. Expect it, accept it. Then keep climbing. The higher you go, the thinner the air, but also the clearer the view. Each step upward removes the noise, until all that remains is focus and truth. From there, you begin to see how far you have come, how small the old fears now look. Rising is not a single act. It is a way of living. It means you keep showing up no matter how you feel. It means you stop arguing for your limitations. It means you trade comfort for conviction. There will be days when the climb feels endless, when you wonder if it's worth it. That is when you must remember why you began. To prove to yourself that you were more than your excuses, to become the kind of person your past self would admire. You have spent long enough at ground level. The view there is crowded and the air is thick with doubt. Above the noise is where clarity lives. The summit is not a place but a state of being. The point where your potential and your purpose meet. Every step you take in faith brings you closer to that meeting. Every morning you rise again is another declaration that you have not finished becoming. Answer the call. Rise not for glory, not for praise, but because you owe it to yourself to see how high you can go. Rise until your effort becomes habit, until your persistence becomes nature. Rise until the version of you that once hesitated no longer exists. And when you stand tall at the edge of exhaustion, look back only to see how far you have climbed. The world needs examples of what rising looks like. Be one. Let your life prove that the climb is worth it. The sky has always belonged to those who reach for it with both hands, who refuse to kneel, who understand that the ground is not their home. Keep moving upward. The air will clear, the view will widen, and somewhere, far above the clouds of fear and doubt, you will realize that the summit was never a place. It was a transformation.